This is the revision video for Unit B2, Classification. What is classification? Classification is a method by which biologists group and categorise organisms by biological type according to shared physical characteristics that have come about due to shared DNA sequences. Which one is the odd one out and why? The rose is the odd one out, all the others are animals, but the rose is a plant. The worm is the odd one out, all the others are vertebrates, but the worm is an invertebrate. The crocodile is the odd one out, all the others are mammals, but the crocodile is a reptile. The spider is the odd one out, all the others are insects because they have 6 legs. The spider is an arachnid because it has 8 legs. How are the slug and the cow connected? What would put them into the same category? They are both animals. They are connected because they are both vertebrates, meaning they both have a backbone. They are connected because they are both mammals. They are connected because they are both part of the cat family. They are connected because they are both domesticated dogs. The activities you have just completed should give you some insight into the way that biologists sort living things. Scientists sort living organisms into groups, and this is what we call classification. The largest of the groups that we split living things into are called kingdoms, and in total there are 7 strands of classification, finally ending up with the species of an organism. The 7 strands of classification are kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. Starting from kingdom at the top, groups get smaller until you end up with 1 species of organism at the bottom. A good mnemonic to help you remember this is King Philip came over for good soup. Here is an example of how human beings are classified. This second example shows us the classification of a lion. Living things are divided into one of 5 kingdoms depending on their features. The 5 kingdoms are plants, animals, fungi, and protoctista, which are all known as eukaryotes, meaning that their genetic material is found in a nucleus inside their cells. The 5th group are prokaryotes, which do not have a nucleus in their cells. All living things belong in one of these 5 categories. The 5 categories within the vertebrates are fish, reptiles, birds, amphibians, and mammals. This categorization is based on common features that these animals have. In a similar way, other organisms are also divided up based on similar features. Within the invertebrates are a category of organisms known as arthropods. The diagram shows how they are further divided. I have talked about how we divide organisms up into their different species, but what exactly is a species? A species is a group of similar organisms that are capable of interbreeding to produce fertile offspring. It should be noted that some closely related species can breed and produce offspring, but those offspring are not fertile, which means they cannot go on to have offspring themselves. The classification of organisms is based on genetic traits that they share. They share similar DNA due to their evolutionary pathway. If we trace an organism's evolution back through time, we can see where different groups came from. These two pictures, showing an Arctic fox and a desert fox, show us how some organisms are very closely related through genetics. They have evolved from the same species somewhere in history. However, they have become very different over time due to evolution because of the different habitats that they have adapted to survive in. On the other hand, some animals that are not as closely related through genetics have become very similar. They have evolved similar features because they have adapted to survive in the same habitat. And we must remember that classification is not always so straightforward. Some closely related species can breed to produce hybrid species, like the examples in the pictures. These pictures show us 5 examples of hybrid species: a mule, a liger, a tigon, a wolfin, and a zonkey.